We have only 2 more weeks before early voting begins in Minnesota, South Dakota, and Wyoming, quickly followed by several states, and I keep asking myself the same question that's on everyone's mind. Is the election locked in favor of Biden, or we still have few more surprises left? I don't know what's in store before November 3rd because we still have a long way to go. But I do know that this is a reconfiguration election where we are going to see some traditionally blue states take a right turn and some traditionally red states make a left turn. I will cover this reconfiguration in another video this week because we have something even more important to talk about: Minnesota. I think there is a small opening for Trump in Minnesota, and he is already moving mountains to open it further. Minnesota, along with several Midwestern states, have been trending right over the last 20 years. Trump lost Minnesota to Hillary Clinton by around 44,000 votes, but he got 3,000 votes more than Mitt Romney and 47,000 votes more than John McCain. So if you look at the trend, the Republican vote base has been increasing. And according to a recent report by Politico, there are 250,000 white, non-college educated men in Minnesota who are eligible to vote but aren't registered yet. That's a block that overwhelmingly favors the president, and if he can manage to turn out a portion of those voters, Minnesota could turn. I will wager that Trump will go all out in Minnesota because his re-election path has gotten a bit narrow over the last 3 months. Trump needs to win all the southern states he carried in 2016 and win at least 2 states in the Midwest. Pennsylvania is most probably out of reach, Wisconsin is slipping away, and his team has already thrown in the towel in Michigan. Trump campaign pulled out of Michigan last month. You don't pull out your ads during the last stretch of the campaign unless you think that the state is out of reach or if you think that your ads are not doing anything to move the needle. And it has to be the farmer because if the ads were bad, they would have rebooted the messaging and got back immediately, but that didn't happen, which means Michigan is going for Biden. So here is the Midwest picture for Trump. Michigan is out. Pennsylvania, the old man will camp there if he has to. Trump will keep him busy, but there is no real play for Trump in Pennsylvania because it's way too big and way too expensive for his campaign. Wisconsin, after the way Trump responded to the unrest in Wisconsin, black turnout in the state is going to be at historical levels. So Wisconsin is gone. Trump has 2 options in Midwest: Ohio and Minnesota. The race is actually closer than it looks, and I still believe Biden has a slight edge over Trump, not because he is leading in the national polls, but because of the way he handles Trump tantrums. Every mud Trump has lobbed at him, Biden either gave it a clear miss or somehow managed to lob it back at Trump. The speech Biden gave in Pennsylvania is an awesome example of counter messaging. The way Biden turned Trump's argument that Biden supports violence back to Trump was just masterclass. Biden not only attacked Trump, but he clearly denounced violence and went as far as to say that protesters who are damaging the properties must be prosecuted. The trap was set for Trump to fall, and he walked straight into it. When reporters questioned Trump if he would denounce his supporters who are engaging in violence, Trump tried to evade the question, creating another round of negative coverage. The problem is, Trump will never denounce the actions of his supporters, neither he will condemn the action of the 17-year-old vigilante who shot and killed 2 protesters in Kenosha while injuring another one. Now, instead of talking about Biden and violence, the news cycle has moved towards why Trump is not asking his supporters to back off. And this is not the first time Biden has used Trump's position to cut through his messaging. He has been doing it for quite some time. I believe that the Trump campaign is doing the right thing in the Midwest. They understand it's a narrow path and they only need a couple of states to win in the region. They're not making a play for all the states, and this allows them to conserve as much resources as possible and pour it into Ohio and Minnesota. Trump can win Minnesota if 2 things happen. The turnout has to be as low as possible, and the number of white, non-college educated voters must increase substantially compared to 2016. If you live in Minnesota, please remember that early voting starts on September 18th.